What's up, guys? This is Evan Lane. We're doing a 60 card branded profile today. It's I would almost call it branded Dogmatika. It's been performing extremely well. The only issues when you play a 60 card is the ceiling is so high. Just because I have a high ceiling doesn't mean that I feel that ceiling. I mean, I feel like it's just, I'm just able to pivot so much. I'm able to, have a line under every hand trap, every situation. I basically have pivot points where under any situation, I for the most part, I'm able to turn and do a completely different line that generates the same advantage. I really feel like I've created something incredible here, guys. I had to share this. I mean, I don't have all the right equipment or anything to start a channel, but this needs to get out there. All right, let's get started. Standard, right? One Ecclesia, one Golden Sword Soul, and I play the one Iris Sword Soul. All right, it's nice to have something other than Golden Sword Soul to go into. Other than Albaz to go into with Ecclesia on your opponent's turn, and another example of a pivot, and also I do play Duality. So Duality is a card that turns a monster. It turns a monster with the same type. You tribute its cost, so it's another like Fallen in the Virtuous. It's amazing. This card is above and beyond amazing. You play it on, for example, a level 8 light spellcaster, and it's just a quick play, right? So you can use it in any kind of way. So say they're not going to imperm this necessarily. Well, yes, they will, but let's say like just in theory, for the sake of this, this got negated, right? I go Duality. I tribute for cost. Then I summon from my extra deck a monster with the opposite attribute but the same type, right? So can we think of it like a dark spellcaster level 8 that's good? A lot of them, right? So I'm doing Dragoon. So and this isn't the best example, but it is a good example because, sometimes what I will do is actually choose this over Albaz because we have a million ways to summon Albaz, and Ecclesia is not serving enough for you guys. Like, I feel like as branded players, like, I feel like in general, like, this card can do so much more than summon Albaz. And I know so a lot of people will tribute this and summon on their turn just to do the combo, but they'll never be doing that. This card will never be coming out really on your opponent's turn unless you have some kind of little spicy combo that you found that you can play at that time. But really, it's nice to have another option besides Albaz with this card, because there's a lot of things that come up. And let me tell you an example of why this card is good too. You might have forgotten exactly how this card works, but it's a quick effect. So this is also quick effect to summon itself on either turn if there's a negated card on board, right? Now, that doesn't come up a ton, but she tags right into that if I needed to. But that's really cool. I do like that effect though, and it does come up. And the 3 effects, you can activate all 3 in the same turn. You can special summon from hand. You can, if your opponent special summons from hand. If your opponent special summons from the deck, you draw 2. So there's been plenty of times where I've been able to, a lot of times in branded, especially if you go hard and you really like set up like a really strong foundation, you kind of end with like a card in your hand sometimes, right? And then you use that card sometimes, or you got Albaz, right? You need to discard for him, and certain things come up. So basically, there was a situation where I didn't have any cards in my hand. That happens all the time, right? Or like we won't even add the Ecclesia or the Cartesia back because for whatever reason we need the names in the grave, and so we'll end up with no cards in hand. When your opponent summons from deck, you draw 2, and then basically you're able to resolve your Albaz. And then also if they summon from extra deck, you can pop a card from the extra deck. So, I mean, it's a good card. There's no one saying it was a bad card. I understand that we just feel like it was able to be left out, but the fact that I play Duality, the fact that I just do things a little differently, I love having the ability to squeeze the most out of each of my cards and get like, as long as it doesn't brick and it hasn't bricked for me, then I keep it. So after a lot of play testing, everything I've done in this deck, I've play tested a lot with, and I've been able to see You know,
Vouch for the playtesting.
so yeah, Iris Sword Soul's nice. It's very nice, actually. All right, so, but that is my flex card. Let's be real. It's my one spot that kind of could be something else, but I'm flexing at this point. That's how easy it is. I'm not kidding. It's just really easy with when you play branded. If you don't play, I don't play hand traps. Let me tell you guys that right off the bat. I don't play hand traps. I side some hand traps. I like droll a lot. I might even main one droll, and I don't care how you take that. See, I have a little magical way about me, so we could talk about that another time. But I'm a heart of the cards kind of duelist anyway, and the way I construct my decks are so that I'm not really fishing for any key cards, but I'm looking for a consistent chaos, right? A consistent way to work through any. So I want any 5 cards. Well, let's go like this. Well, no, I have it in order, but we can do test hands where I shuffle and show you some hands. So I put this together with the Aliber because I wanted to just show you that I'm doing 1 and 1, and we're doing 1 safer. So I figured instead of running 3 Alibers and 3 branded openings, that locks you out of your extra deck. I mean, it locks you into fusions, which to me is out of the extra deck. It's right because we want to do our synchro lines. I don't understand why we're still playing this at 3. Like, why are we so desperate? Well, I guess the reason people are desperate is because they haven't explored other options of things that can generate them the same advantage because they're afraid to. Really, I mean. Besides the fact, I got a lot to talk about with when it comes to Ecclesia OG, and I'm just gonna have to save that for another day because it's a lot to. I have a lot to talk about about her, and I'm telling you, the secret to branded is keeping another Ecclesia in rotation, and I'm not talking about the synchro. You gotta have the OG. It's not about having 2 of the. You can't have 2 of her. Because you can, that'd still be good, but it wouldn't be that good, right? It would kind of suck. In my deck, it'd be good, because in my case, I actually go, because I play Ecclesia, I go Tribute, Summon, Activate to summon OG Ecclesia. And what if I told you OG Ecclesia can get you an entire board, the same amount of advantage as your synchro lines? It's just really great. So, all right. I play 1 and 1 because I figure I don't want to really see. I'd love to see this in normal summon it, but if I don't, now I have a consistent end phase Albion send effect where Albion says add a spell or trap to hand that's branded, right? So I add this to hand end phase most of the time, and it's part of what makes my main phase 3 so crazy. Is I always start with this. I special summon the Aliber from deck. Now I don't have to worry about the fact that I already normaled my Aliber, and it's like, why play so many copies of a card that's getting you the same advantage? Like, why not just trade one of your Alibers for a Safer? The Safer also has the other effect where you can banish it from grave to add it back a level 8 dragon back to hand. So there's recursion for your fusions or for my Lubellians because I have a Bestial package, which I love. The Dissipator and the Omega, the hand ripping with that is just insane. So Starly's Safer tributes itself as cost, as nice, and then to add Fallen of White or any dragon to your hand. But you can actually tribute any dragon and add a dragon with the same level. So you can tribute multiple monsters even, and then the combination you add that level monster. But I love this 1 and 1. I love because basically I never see this, and if I do, I love it. And if I do see this, then I'll go for Quem with this. But basically, I never get locked now. I do play the branded fusions, and I don't care about getting locked. But basically, I'm not going to play more cards that make me lock when I can generate the same advantage with cards that are similar to this. An example of similar would be... I'm just going to show these now, but I'm just going to flash them because we're going to go over them in the spells. The 3 Nadir Servants. Now, when you start understanding what you can make happen while your extra deck is locked, then you actually can start realizing, okay, I could generate the same advantage, play on their turn, and still end up with running another 3 High Spirits. It's better than High Spirits, guys. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you send any card from your extra deck. Why don't you send Ab Cologne, right? You could send Ab Cologne. I took Ab Cologne and put it on my side, but Ab Cologne, you could send Ab Cologne, add Schism, set the Schism, you got a window on your opponent's turn, draw phase, like, whatever. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, the things, you can send whatever you want, Entis, whatever it is you want from the extra deck, right? and then no discarding. You don't have to hope you had the same type. Oh God, I got to get rid of my Dust Dragon, and then I can't summon my Dust Dragon. Or no, that's now I got to play 2 Dust Dragons. You know you don't want to play 2 Dust Dragons. Admit it. So if that's the case, find a way to how you can make your deck more balanced. People are so willing to forfeit like balance for the sake of like a dope play that they think is so cool. Like they're just clinging to it so hard. You cling to this, like these particular plays. But I'm gonna get into this in a second. But you don't discard. You do the same thing as you do with high spirits, except you don't discard. You don't have to hope you have the same type and only send from extra deck the same type as what you sent. And then you have to hope you have a monster in hand always, because you might have a hand of a Charmy or a hand trap that doesn't match the types, and that's another reason why you're whacked for playing hand traps. I'm just kidding. But no, hand traps are cool, but not in branded. Not in this build. I mean, we'll talk more. We'll see how, we'll talk more.
Shiny.
Yeah.
Holy rainbow.
Yeah, it's just cool.
It's crazy on camera.
Yeah, the one Mercurier, love it. You know how that does. And then the one kit's amazing. We need to talk about how Andre Torres added in this whole like 12 card engine of cards that you can discard, because we're always discarding cards that when they're sent to the graveyard, no matter what, get an effect. That's powerful stuff, I'm telling you, because the actual fact of the matter is we're gonna discard both turns every turn, and so I'm gonna show you some cards that are good sending in general, and that's also duality right here, right? When this has in the same turn that you actually used its effect to summon from extra deck, and this isn't my only target, right? I can turn any of my extra deck monsters. Actually, one time I turned a level 8 Dogmatika into Dragoon, attacked with Dragoon, negated something actually, attacked for 4K, and then I played my second Dragoon, my second duality on the next turn, and turned him into. How cool is that? But really, it's for tagging out everybody. I mean, everyone tagging out for each other, right? I mean, think about it. I'll make Sanctifier while you're trying to negate my Albion, right? So Branded Fusion, I summon Albion. You go, I don't know, Valor, whatever. I go duality, tribute off the field. We wanted him in the grave anyway. I mean, I'm telling you, it's almost custom for this deck. In the same turn that you do this effect, and then you summon the Sanctifier, which in my deck is nuts because I play the Ritual, which is a lock. I put it on my opponent's board like nothing. It's really easy, and they can't access the extra deck. But I also pair that with Christia, so it's a double lock. But then I pair that with Mercurier and a couple other things that, just really secure the lock really well. And then Fallen on the Virtuous to reborn your Christia. And it's very consistent to get all these cards. Albion and Face can set you the Fallen on the Virtuous to reborn. Anyway. But I can go on all day about the things I do with duality. Very cool stuff. But yeah, and the fact that I can turn most of my fusion targets into this is super cool, because this card is kind of the center of. I didn't mean him to be, but I started finding real fast that I only needed one Albion now. Because how Albion is a light and Albaz? Well, this is a light spellcaster and Albaz, but all of our lights are light spellcasters. So this can be your second Albion if you're able to make strong enough, consistent if it's consistent enough that you have things in the grave that can really make the payout like really worth it. But in the same turn, what I was saying is you can actually banish this from the grave in the same turn you use it. Banish it from the grave, recursion a light and a dark. Recycle a light and a dark monster from your graveyard back to your deck. So that can be, your fusions that you've dumped. And you recycle a light and a dark from your grave back to the deck, draw a card. Paid for itself. You got a free Dragoon. I mean, another cool thing. Say Albion's out and I play Duality. Tag out. Because who needs him after you used his effect the first time, right? I mean, he's cool, right? He's cool to stick around. Maybe you'll use him again in 3 years from now, or you could just tribute him and go into Fill Your Regis. Now, this is my Dark Dragon target. Alright, so I know you're asking, how do I have the space for this stuff in my extra deck? So, I brought Albion down to 1. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, A lot of it's just not necessary. The Dust Dragon needs to be at 1. I mean, you just need to find more. That's why I like the Bystials and the Shrouded Dragon. Like, you need to, if you can add more ways to put in. And I'm playing Dogmatikas, so no one has an. I don't have an excuse either about. I'm playing plenty of spellcasters, but what I'm saying is that with Dust Dragon, if you have more dragons in your deck and more other types and stuff, then you can get away more with playing high spirits on other things than spellcasters. Anyway, and besides, I don't want to send my Dust Dragon to the grave. I mean, that's why you guys play 2, but it's just silly. Listen. So, the Philia Regis is a quick effect to banish a card on the field or graveyard. God, every turn, quick effect banish from field or grave. I mean, that's about as good as it gets, right? Except it gets better. On your opponent's battle phase, every battle phase, summon this from the graveyard. Love this card. It's a Called by the Grave. It's a Mirror Jade. And what I'll do often, what I love about this is I'll often, and especially if I were to tag it from this, but what I love about this card is that it bounces a dragon back to your hand to banish something. And I actually like that part because what I often do when I choose to make this, because its materials are very easy to make. It's just a dragon fusion and a level 7 or higher dragon. So I actually love that because this almost like serves as a way to help me recycle 2 of my fusions from the graveyard back into the extra deck. So I like that a lot. And then so it's easy to make anyway. It's kind of like how you would make a Light and Darkness dragon, but it's just nice. Fits the level 8 requirement, all that. And then the last thing was just that so what I make it on the turns where I'll actually do the Dogmatika lines where I actually lock myself out of the extra deck, and in those turns I'll often have an Albaz still on my field, because when Fallen of White summons the original Ecclesia, you're locked out of the extra deck. So, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. You just have to, work with that. Now, work with that and make the deck accordingly. Go with that. So you can generate the same advantage and play on your opponent's turn and have no problems and do some really nasty stuff. Like I play the Ritual where I take, not only do I lock you out of your extra deck, but I take like 3+ cards from your extra deck of my choice. Like I go in your extra deck, get the information, what you're playing. And then I'm telling you, if I take 2 to 3 cards, it's not nice. And there's Albazoa, high competitor for the one I'm playing. I know this card has a little bit of a bad route, and I know right now everyone's playing Fallen on the Virtuous, so people don't want to risk this. But he sends every turn he sends half your opponent's extra deck. He also says all your Dogmatikas are unaffected by monster effects from the extra deck, which is the only ones really doing real effects that would affect my monsters, right? So, level 4s aren't going to be popping my monsters. So, all my Dogmatikas are unaffected by card effects, including himself. 4K, and sends half your opponent's extra deck every turn. And he's also a level 12, so to make it, you send the Luluwa Lilith, and she actually she's the best one to send out of all of them in the deck. So I'm going to show you a lot of cool stuff. But I'm not going to go on too much today because I just feel like there's some things I do need to explain, but I just feel like I just need to post the profile right away, and if you guys care, then we can go forward from here. Because I've never really made a YouTube channel before in any real way. So, okay, let's go on. Thanks for hanging in there with that. That took a little bit, but yeah, that was some cool stuff, right? It's interesting how you can apply duality to a lot of things. Just looking, okay, I just got black sleeves and the blanket's black. Alright, 2 Cartesias. 1 Shrouded. I would bump it up to 2. As soon as I can, I will. It's amazing. It's the best high spirits target pretty much, and I mean, it's one of them, and because you can activate it, send a spell or trap. Because if you don't realize that Sword is amazing, and then you can get an entire combo line, a whole entire fire line off of Sword you don't realize that. That's right, because you play you lock yourself with Branded Fusion or Opening or whatever, and then you feel like Sword is bad because getting back Fallen of White, it just isn't that good when you're locked. But see, my lines, Fallen of White is live as can be every time I see him. Under every hand trap, no matter what, Fallen of White has a line that is going to be super optimal, and I'm not going to miss at all what I was going to do before the hand trap was played. I actually have it like that. So, and I'm sorry to sound so brag, whatever, but yeah, it's just like, it's nice right now. Albaz the Ashened, another card, probably don't know, or not too familiar with what it does, or don't remember. So this card is actually extremely good. It's won me so many games. Okay, it gains 200 attack for every monster in the grave, and none of your other monsters can be targeted. So the applications are like, I mean, imagine using Ecclesia, and like, you know, say you need to get over somebody's dogma or someone's towers, right? So you tower over their towers, right? Tag out Ecclesia for this. It gains 200 for every monster in your grave. I don't know about you, but on average, I think most branded players' graveyards have at least 10 monsters on average. I mean, that's at least, right? But this card anyway is always, in my deck, it's always at least a 4K. So, or 36. So that's usually his least, is 36. But he can knock over anything. And if I wanted to, I can get him a little higher because it's 200 for every monster in grave. But anyway, every time a monster leaves the field, you can summon him from the grave and say that no one can be targeted. So all duel long, he's a problem. And people don't understand. And the fact that his name is Albaz is enough for me. I play Super Poly. I set this in contact off an entire Omni Negate board. You don't forget that. It's Albaz. So you can contact off any dragon with this. And one last thing was... yeah, I was saying, so what I love doing also is that I love the ability to have more than Cartesia and Quem to get with this and Mercurier. Guys are like, what the fuck? This tags out for this when they try to, if your opponent tries to target. So imagine this already has an inherent, your opponent cannot target other monsters. That's what this says. You banish it for this when your opponent tries to target something. Fizzles and you're good. End phase, this comes back, nothing lost. This is in rotation every turn. An Albaz, a monster named Albaz that is constantly on both turns coming back every turn. So it's not, you know, just let it soak in and take a little time to check the card out and think about it. But I'm telling you, it's done really well for me. Okay, and then we got Christia. It's too good not to play for me. In a 60 card, it's easy. I get away with it. And also, I would love to draw it. I know going into boards, it's not as good, but it is. It really is. If your opponent can't special summon, I mean, a lot in today's formats, like I feel like right now, people are constantly summoning, like, on their opponent's turn. You know, so just like the other day, I tribute summoned this. And he quit, you know. It's Christia, guys, but I play it mostly because I like to reinforce the lock that I do so consistently with this. So now we're gonna get into the Dogmatikas, and that's the last of the monsters. Actually, right before we get into the Dogmatikas, let's and there's a little bit more. One moment. Let's put the fleur-de-lis next to each other because that's probably fleur-de-lis. Okay, so before we do that, real quick, we got the 5 Bestials. I got 2 Sarniers, 2 Lubellions, and 1 Druid's Worm. Now, I felt like Magnamut. I have so many ways within the Deer Servant and the Gold Sarko and whatnot. I feel like I didn't show the Gold Sarko. I don't remember that. Oh, that's right. We're not a spell shit. I like to show the cards like when I'm like making my deck laid out for myself. I put cards together that are like similar, so I put Gold Circle a lot to the time next to Fallen Void and stuff. Anyway, I chose Magnamut to cut it because I side the Magnamut when I'm going second because it wasn't very good. A lot of the times I was there's so many ways for me to get into Fallen Void. This is more consistent because I do play the Regained, so I'm constantly putting pressure on the opponent. Also, it's nice, the other day I played Sanctifier and summoned this to their field and gave them a problem where if they got rid of it, they knew they would, you know, I could send a card off their field. But I also stole from their grave the Mitsurugi guy that Regeki's their board when he summoned, and I Regeki'd their board. Like, it was crazy. But yeah, Sanctifier's nice. But, oh wait, so Okay. I'll put these two together, and then these are all kind of in the same, all three of these Dogmatikas. Okay, now this is the reason I made the deck profile. Very interesting stuff, guys. Before I wrap up the Bestials, let me just say why I chose two Saronniers. So instead of Shrouded, I felt like Saronnier is more important because of the name, the fact that he's a Bestial, and the fact that he's level, he's a Bestial. He's a level 6. It helps me with the Dissipator plays, and it's good. Bestials are good right now. I do play hand traps. They're just engine hand traps but lore hand trap, whatever. So the Bestials are good, and then I really just like the fact that they, like Lubellion. I love him. He hit. What I'll do is I'll send him. I'm gonna do a combo tutorial. Let's not get into a whole thing right now. But yeah, I feel like those 5 right now are really good, and then I side out a Saronnier for the Magnemite going second. But I guess as far as the Bestials go, I felt like I had something else to say. But I just want to say that basically the hand ripping is too good not to play, and it goes well with like a lot of the things that I'm already doing. Bestials go very well, guys, with what we're already doing with the synchro lines, So might as well make that Dissipator, Reborn that Omega, or that... Yeah. And then Omega's is nice. Omega's really nice. I mean, it has 3 effects that are like custom for branded. Okay, now. Quem. Dogmatika card, don't forget that. Dogmatika. Another card you could summon off Titaniclad. Another card you can, if you had already gotten your Quem, it's really sad to me when I see people have already played Quem and their Titaniclad has nothing to summon. Because this is an incredible card. Putting another Ecclesia in rotation will win you the duel, because summoning Dogma when he can't be... Keeping Dogma is the name of the game most of the time. And you should win. And you should win especially if you go into this. This is so important. This is the MVP of the deck. And this I'll put with them because it is I do call it, I consider it a Dogmatika. And let me see the rest of my Dogmatika cards. I'll take them out of the spells. So we got 3 Nadirs, right? Add any Dogmatika monster or an Albaz, right? Fallen of White, whatever. Pull it back a little so you can, or I don't know, so you can see it all. All right. So, we're playing 1 ritual spell, and we're playing 1 matrix. Okay. Now, these are extremely good cards. And we're also playing, because of the new Thunderbolt, he sets you a trap card. For free, in the same turn. I'll cover him first, because he's probably the most interesting. He's the new talk, but no one's really applying him in any way at all, and it's disheartening. So basically, quick effects: summon from hand and set a Dogmatika trap from deck, and you can activate it the same turn if your opponent controls a monster from the extra deck with 25 or higher. So I'll often just wait. If this is in my hand, it's another hand trap. I'll often just wait until my opponent summons from the extra deck something 25 or higher. It happens all the time, right? It doesn't happen with Yumi and Mitsu as much, but everyone else, right? So I just special. And on their turn, and I'd basically go turn 0 Mirror Jades, because it adds back this, and this special summons or adds to hand any Dogmatika or Albaz. So this summons or adds to hand a Dogmatika or an Albaz. Now, the reason that comes up so much, and that's why I was able to cut my Rinbrum, is that your second Dogma is effectively your Rinbrum. Okay, instead of Rinbrum, get this. End phase, you can add a Dogmatika with this, right? There's so many great Dogmatikas you could add to play on your opponent's turn, right? They're like on your opponent's turn, you can add Thunderbolt. I'm sorry, end phase, you add this to your hand with Dogma, right? So if you were to add this, then you could just special summon it on your opponent's turn, set the encounter, activate it the same turn, But usually I like to just summon it on my turn and set this so I can just activate it whenever I want. You know, I don't have to wait for them to summon. But yeah, this basically summons itself from the hand whenever there's any extra deck monster on field, like the rest of the most of the Dogmatikas. So it's just on your turn, if you have an extra deck monster on board, like your Ecclesia or anything, just drop it out, set a free trap from your deck, and then on your opponent's, in this trap you really want is this one, because this, if you on your opponent's standby, you could just activate it, tribute a monster, a Dogmatika, or a monster from the extra deck, and you actually summon a ritual from your deck with the same level, a Dogmatika ritual. And you can banish this from the graveyard to add back a Dogmatika from the grave and put one from grave back into deck. And that comes up a lot, and there's so many cool like applications to that too. But yeah, this is really great. This is my Rinbrum, because basically end phase I can just add this to hand. It's like Rinbrum being in the hand. And I know there's no replacement for Rinbrum, but a second Dogma was more important to me, and I never miss the Rinbrum because I'm constantly spamming Albaz. Why do I need another card that summons Albaz from my graveyard? So, and half the time we don't even have an Albaz in graveyard. If you're playing if you're playing Branded in red and making some sweet boards, you're not gonna have an Albaz in grave a lot of the time. A lot of the times you're gonna be, or if you do, you already have a plan where you're gonna be summoning it back with Ecclesia. Like you're not gonna be I'm talking about the OG. Like we only have one OG Albaz. So, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, all right. Let me get focused. Back on track. So, this sets either of these traps. So one turns a Dogmatika card, he himself. So he could actually, in theory, just summon himself, and then set the trap that. Summon himself, set the trap, activate the trap the same turn. This is all on your opponent's turn 0, right? Sorry, I'll do this one first. Turn 0, summon an Albaz or a Dogmatika, or add to hand an Albaz or Dogmatika. So, on turn 0, I kid you not, I summoned Quem once from my hand. Quem sent Albaz to grave, Fallen of White, I mean. And Fallen of White, and then when he summoned from extra deck, Quem summons, he didn't know what was going on. It was his turn. He didn't expect an Albaz fusion on his turn, or I don't know. He just didn't see it because it was Fallen of White, I guess. So I reborn Fallen of White off of Quem. Fallen of White summons Ecclesia. Now I have 3 monsters on his turn 1. And then I fuse off his whole board to make Dogma. Then I shuffle his graveyard back to the deck, all on his turn 1. He basically ended his turn. He went first, and he quit before I even started my turn. So, basically, the card, that's a lot of fun. There's a lot of ways this can come up. Say this was in your hand, and you just turn 0, special, set, activate, special, say this was in hand, right? Special, bring to hand, fleur-de-lis. Fleur-de-lis, another hand trap, by the way. If this card's in hand, special summon to and then negate anything on board if there's a Dogmatika. So, and whenever he attacks, everyone gains 5. He's phenomenal, man. Play this card at least. I mean, you have an excuse to play her. You have plenty of excuses. It's him, and this card right here. Oh my god! And besides that, don't forget. Oh, you want to talk about Dogmatika cards? You didn't know you were playing Dogmatikas. Yeah. I mean, we're all familiar with the fact that this is a Dogmatika card, right? And we all know that Ecclesia can just add this to hand, right? And we all know that when you have an Ecclesia, you can use the Reborn effect. So it's like ridiculous, because the Reborn effect is so good in the Dogmatika build, because I do a lot of locks. And they're all light spellcasters, so you always have that Sanctifier, like, fodder, right? So you can always make Sanctifier. So, if I see a Cartesia, it's a double lock every time with the Ritual on their board, when the controller of this card cannot use the extra deck. Now, what I do is so cool, and that's the last thing we're going to talk about with Dogmatikas. And one more time, this trap tributes a Dogmatika, and the reason we run it is not just because it's an amazing trap, but obviously the fact that I can just from hand, summon from hand, quick effect, set and activate the same turn. But I like to play them on my turn so I could do it in their draw phase or whatever. Or, you know, as soon as they play a card or whatever. Turn, basically, tribute to Dogmatika. So he set this, but he himself is the tribute, right? So he's a 1 card in your hand ritual summon. It's basically like, it's the exact same as if this was in your hand. And basically, where this is in your hand and you just went quick effect, summon this from hand. So it's cool, right? Like, if the card was good, right? Now let's talk about the card. When a card effect is activated, go into both players' extra deck and take a card. Now, that's way better than it sounds. And what you're going to do is pass turn. On your opponent's turn, when they activate their first card effect, like, it's such a smooth effect because it's not like you got to wait. You don't have to... Because what you're trying to do is put this in the grave and then sanctify it back to your opponent's side of the field so they can't use the extra deck. So there's no linking this off, nothing. And I don't even let them get to tribute summons because my Mirror Jade or whatever, if I do this, I'm going to make sure that I have it in a situation where I'm able to either fuse off or Mirror Jade or whatever off whatever they summon alongside this. Because I know they're going to try to maybe do a tribute summon. But even if they do, look at how much they gave up to, like, you know, it just messes with what they have going on, messes with their head, messes with the way they were going to play. And little things like that, jacking 3 cards from your extra deck by your draw phase. This can jack 3 cards from your extra deck by my opponent's first draw. First action of their entire duel. So if I take 3 cards from your extra deck, if I take 2 cards from your extra deck is what I really mean to say. If I take 2 cards from your extra deck, most of the time, you know, we all know what can happen there. I mean, that's really nasty. But what you do is on your opponent's turn, I don't even do it for the extra deck takes. I like that. It's cute and stuff. But what I love is I go on their turn. So on my turn, if they activate a card effect, send from both extra decks, get something nice in your grave, and then what you send from, and then you send from your opponents, and then when you pass turn, when they activate a card effect, the first card effect they activate, you go, okay, you go in their extra deck again. So whatever they're about to do is probably going to be kind of weak because if you go in their extra deck that second time, and whatever it is they played, like, it's likely going to have something to do with them going into the extra deck at some point, and like you'll be able to see what trajectory they're on by the card they play, by the first card they play. So if you're smart with this card, you can actually wait till you see where they're going with things and then be like, all right, activate, let me see your extra deck, I'm going to take that card because that was the card that I can see you're going for. So this is a slick card. And then guess what? What you send from your extra deck, because remember, you send from both extra decks every time. And he gains the combination of the attack of both cards you sent, but the half of that. So he's usually about 3,000. So, but what you send from your extra deck is this. So you send the Entis, you pop yourself, and then the Sanctifier just puts it right on their field with the Christia. It's super simple. It really is very consistent. But yeah, what makes this super good, this is what's amazing. Okay, so say you do the average line where you summon Fallen of White and then they charm you, right? Now here's something you can do. If they charm me, for example, you can go Fallen of White and then pivot, right? There's one of our pivot points right there. You go, oh, okay. Charm me, no problem. You're not going to draw one. Well, you'll draw one, I'm sorry. But that's fine because he had to discard a card, so he didn't draw one. It is the Ecclesia. So Fallen of White is going to go... Fallen of White summons Ecclesia, right? Ecclesia is going to add Matrix. Now, this is my favorite thing to do. I do it every chance I get. If I see this, or this, or one of the Nadirs and a way to get to Fallen of White separately, or a way to get to Ecclesia separately, or a way to... So, you can see how easy that is. Like, I mean, this gets Ecclesia. So... A lot of times I'll actually choose this way, but A lot of the time, but also I do it a lot just to test different waters, to test different situations, to push my limits. I like to find out, like, okay, yeah, I know the synchro line is the hottest thing. I know how good that is already. Let's see how like to put myself to the test to really see how good the cards really are. And I'm not like, I don't put anything in the deck that's just half good, like half paying the bills. So what I do is I go for this as often as I can. So when I see this, or this, these 4 cards, or like I said, a combination where I can get one of these, I will actually go Ecclesia, and I will actually forfeit my extra deck so that I can get the Matrix. Also, they don't know what I'm doing. They don't know Matrix. They don't respect Matrix. They don't understand what I'm going after. They don't know the advantage I'm about to generate. So all of it goes under the radar, and they don't even, for the most part, won't do much about it, especially if I do this early. So you activate Dogmatika Matrix, and it adds a ritual monster or a ritual spell. So that's why I said if I have one of the pieces in my hand, I'll go for that play where I get this adds me the other piece. So say this was in your hand, right? Summon Ecclesia, Ecclesia adds the Matrix. Activate Matrix, add yourself the spell. But I know it looks like some old school ritual shit and it's not going to be worth it, but wait till you see how these cards really work. Also, Dogmatika Matrix, it has a few effects. So it says add a ritual monster or a ritual spell, but if your opponent controls any monster, you can get any Dogmatika card from your deck to your hand. What if I said that I haven't resolved that effect once and it's still the play that I go for every time I can? But it's, I don't know, like I can go for this all the time if I wanted when my opponent. So like let's say we're in a situation where like your opponent, it's your opponent's turn, and somehow you say you mirror jaded, and you can send a Titaniclad to the grave, and then Titaniclad will basically just go can go Ecclesia end phase, and then Ecclesia can add this to your hand so that you start your turn with Matrix, right? And it's worth it. There's no more of a blowout card like Matrix. You just activate Matrix, and it adds a ritual card and the ritual spell because they have a monster on their field, right? So you add both of them right away, so you're ready to do the whole thing. So that's nice. If you're, I was citing it for a while. I was on and off, back and forth. I did every different combination of that, all that, but I see that it has to be mained. It's too good, and there's no reason to side it at all, because even if I just get one of the pieces, it's well worth it. And also, we have no problem discarding in a worst case scenario. I can get rid of this if I just feel like it's not serving as enough of a purpose with the hand I have. But the way I construct my decks, I mean, yeah, okay. Sorry. Dogmatic Calamity. Okay. The ritual spell is not like an average spiritual spell. The way it sends, the way it tributes is you send from extra deck instead. So whether it's this or this, you can send any of your Albaz fusions, or I'm wondering where the rest of my extra deck is. Oh, you guys. All right, so any of the Albaz fusions, or he's an 8, right? So he can send any of the Albaz fusions. That's nice. So went to summon him, I mean. So remember, when you play the Matrix, say this was in your hand and your opponent has nothing on their field, then you only add the 1, right? But if they did, maybe you add a Fallen and the Virtuous, maybe whatever. Like there's so many amazing things you can add. Like I'm gonna get into Lawbringer right after it, and then we're done with the Dogmatikas. But Lawbringer's quick. He's just dope. On summon, I'll just get into him right now. On summon, Freddy Krueger right here. On summon, send from your both players' extra decks, and then whenever this card is sent to the grave, this goes back to what I was saying about cards that when they're sent to the grave having an effect. So when it's sent to the grave, add any Dogmatika card from grave to hand. So that can be Fallen and the Virtuous, and he's really cool because he himself can actually set the whole thing up. Like you could just special him. So you just need an extra deck monster on anywhere on the field to special him from hand. So you just go special from hand, effect on summon, to send from both extra decks. You send from your extra deck anything that gets you this, activate it, pop something or reborn something, and then now this is in your graveyard and you have a Dogmatika card in your grave, so you always at very least are able to recur that. But I play it also because it's a level 8 spellcaster for duality. I play it because you could send anything from your extra deck to the grave. So I have like a lot of different things, little spicy things I do. But I may move it to the side possibly at some point in the future. It's incredible, but this card, I realize how amazing it is with App Cologne and Winda. So I might just do a thing where I just pair this with that so that I can just summon it, send the App Cologne, always have the Winda on my opponent's turn. I do play Secret Village for the spellcasters, Metaverse, Thrust, so there's a lot of ways to get to the Secret Village, and then and I do play Grass, and yeah. All right, so we really got to get going here, but it's a lot of stuff. There's a lot to it. Like I didn't even say the half. Like so, let me just finish up with Dogmatika Matrix. So, the card says if your opponent controls a monster, you could add 2 Dogmatika cards from your deck to your hand. Right.
Sorry, guys.
So, if you add the missing piece, you have 2.
We gotta plug you in. Hold on. Technical difficulties.
Is it plugged in?
Yeah.
The flash is off. Are you able to? No, probably not. Are you able to see though?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Dogmatic Calamity will send from extra deck anything, right? So let's say we send. Let's send Albion. Then we go summon our ritual. Now, if they activate a card effect at any time during this turn, while this is out, you can just send. So if if a card at any point leaves. I'm trying to think of what I was saying here. Okay, when you activate this, you send the Albion. Okay, now if at any point your opponent activates a card effect while he's out, you take from both players' extra decks. Okay, Dogmatika Matrix, another effect. Dogmatika Matrix, when there's a ritual monster on the field, it says that you can actually send from either player's extra deck. So there's all these things saying send from your extra deck or your opponent's extra deck, and there's a lot of advantage to be made here if you can put that together. I mean, think about it. So summon him. This sent 1. Now I'm gonna go ahead and activate this to send 1. Then if they activate a card effect at any point on my turn, I send 1 from mine and theirs. Or this could have sent from theirs. This could have sent from theirs, and then on their turn, I'm gonna send 1 from theirs with this as well. And then pop myself, put them in the lock, but not before taking 3 from their extra deck. 2 to 3. So. Last thing was Matrix can't when you take the 2 to 3 from your opponent's extra deck, it's very vicious. But when you send from your own, that's in cases where my hand is not as good, because if you think about it, Calamity sends 1. He can send 1. He's gonna send 1. If your opponent's probably gonna activate a card effect at some point in your turn while he's out, so he's gonna probably send 1. But guaranteed is 1 here, 1 here. So 2 sends for right there, and then on your opponent's turn, you're guaranteed to send 1 from both players' extra deck off this, and this puts a little bit of pressure and you can always reborn like a ritual back to the field or whatever. But in the scheme of things, the way that things go down, because you go Nadir's Servant and you summon Fallen of White, and Nadir's Servant sent something from the extra deck. Just gonna put some lighting a little better here. Okay, so Nadir's Servant sends from the extra deck, right? Then Fallen of White sends from the extra deck. Then this sends from the extra deck. Then this sends from the extra deck. Then this sends from the extra deck. That's all just if you want to just send from yours. But there's no reason to, because as you can see, for the most part, we're sending so many from our extra deck that you're gonna want to just use the Matrix effect to take from your opponent's extra deck. And then you use this as well to take from the opponent's extra deck, so you end up taking about 3 from theirs, and that's really vicious. And then you dispose of them by sending on the opponent's turn the Entis, and then the Sanctifier, and it's so consistent. Summon Sanctifier, reborn this. Thanks, guys. Sorry about that. Now, So yeah, the 3 fallen and the virtuouses, we already said that, but there they are. And one thing is, if you do choose to do the Albazoa over the level 8, you can send a level 12, which is not bad at all because she has like the best end phase effect anyway. She summons any spellcaster from your deck. End phase, right? So especially in a situation, and by the way, imagine the nastiness. I'm kind of thinking about like which one's better, because this is nasty, and he's just a beast. You know, he's 4,000 unaffected. He makes all the homies unaffected. He says send from extra deck, right? But here's the deal: they never catch this. This sends half the extra deck to the graveyard, but they never care. Even if they read this, they don't really care to give it enough like energy to really think like, oh, this is going to do any damage enough to like really care about negating it at all. And if they did, you'd be happy they negated this over another problem or something more serious. But basically this card says send half your opponent's extra to the graveyard, and then because you control a ritual, you go in their extra deck and snipe whatever it is that's going to really do them in. Because a lot of the time people are going to send their doubles, they're going to send whatever, they're going to show you what they value. You know, they're narrowing down what's most important, and then they're also, if you're a good player, you know already what to take anyway. And imagine that combo: send half, and then go. And then so what? So what? They send a meteor logic or whatever, and then this is unaffected. So whatever they send from their extra deck, I'm unaffected by. And if they send a fallen and the virtuous, like, go for it. Send your send all 3 of your Albion stuff, or your Albion, whatever, the 3, and get your 3 fallen and the virtuouses. Go for it. Like, I don't care. This deck just, the way this deck is, it's just too much to deal with. I don't know how else to say it. But that's nice there too. You could send this off of that. So if you did prefer this card over locking yourself and playing the Entis just makes it easier. I love the 8 better than Albazoa. I don't find Albazoa that great. It's a little bit of a sitting duck, but it's a duck that really might not get moved off the board because it's so strong. It's really powerful. I mean, it keeps your Quem unaffected. It does a lot of cool things. It really does. Comes up a lot, the fact that everything's unaffected. Okay, now I'm going to go through quick with the rest. We just had to go through that because that really takes a lot of time. I appreciate you guys hanging with me. I really do. I just figured, what's the point of doing a half-assed profile? Like, I might as well let you know what the cards do, because these aren't cards that everybody's playing right now, right? So I hope you can understand that, and thank you for your patience. All right. 3 high spirits. Three Nadir. So as you can see, there's no shortage of getting like Fallen of White to my hand. This actually gets Fallen of White. I don't care about the lock because a lot of the times I just like to go Fallen of White into Ecclesia sometimes anyway. But really it's for Cartesia. I like to summon Cartesia with this, and then Dust Dragon will send the Christia, and I do a lot with this. I mean, a lot. The only thing is, it just doesn't send from the extra deck, so it just doesn't give you the advantage these do. But it's nice. It's just more pushes, and I'm telling you, I just need one push. We know that Brandon just needs one push to actually resolve, to just handle our business. All right. So yeah, I just put those all together because they kind of all 3, 6, 7, 8 cards that are just to get to Fallen of White for the most part, but really it's to get to any Dogmatika at all, which is cool. And now we have some toolbox, some options, some situations, some fun. 2 branded fusions. I mean, you guys just play, not you guys, but I'm saying, I'm a little upset that the branded players are just so, they try to streamline to the point where their engine is non-engine. And it's like all they want to do is just do the Fallen of White line. You're going to get bored, 1. 2, you're not going to You're just not going to be able to have the longevity. Everyone knows your deck. Everyone knows exactly what to do, and then you get stopped. And then it's crazy when I watch people play branded. If half your hand is hand traps, imagine what I got going on when it's straight gas, but it's also straight. The way that I have this constructed is so that basically, so I do play the droplets, the super polys, and also I do play enough things to be able to keep control. So it's a little bit more of a control-based deck. What I do is I combo on turn one, kind of like all branded decks. We combo on turn one, and then from there it goes to a control deck. Well, yeah, it's a little bit like that principle, but it's a little bit more control. So, 2 branded fusions. The 2 dualities, I have it over there because I showed you it earlier. It's amazing. Branded in red. Amazing. Main phase 3 stuff. Branded lost, branded regained. So, branded lost is actually a good card. Branded regained, even better. I know that's a lot to say, but when I tell you the pressure this card puts on my opponent, when I tell you that I go for this every damn time over branded lost, unless I have a branded red or a branded fusion in hand, or I'm going second, I will go for this. If I'm not the few things that I just said, if I'm not going second, if I don't have branded fusion or that's it. Then basically, now I get why you guys cut lost, but. Or Cartesia, if I don't see Cartesia, then I'll go for this. So I go for this most of the time, actually, over lost. Now, it keeps pressure. It keeps a lot of pressure because I summon Dissipator every turn. So every single time a monster is summoned, either turn, when your opponent summons a monster, you can summon a Bestial from your grave. And I always if I see one single Bestial, I think 100%. Okay, so every time I see a Bestial, if I resolve Fallen of White, I effectively rip 4 to 5 cards from your hand, and that's guaranteed auto win. And then that's thanks to Branded Regained, and a Tude is like part of the 5th card, and like it's part of the 4th card too. And a Tude is kind of nice, but I might cite. I think I've been flexing a little with that, but. It's not a flex. It really is. A Tude is a very, very strong card. It's just that my main, my locals are really just playing Mitsurugi, and they don't really use a lot of extra decks. So I felt like it's okay to cut it. But play this if you're gonna take from my deck list at all. Think about it. If you can do the Dissipator plays, and if you're playing Bestials at all. Imagine how good this would be. I mean, Albion end phase set this. It's a branded card, and then basically you think, and then all the times that I'm locked out of the extra deck, it's a great. I really love the ability to sync on my opponent's turn, and it's every opponent's turn, and these cards just stay there applying pressure. Like every card that's sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead. But right now I'm on the fence about this. I'm not exactly sure where I stand as far as like if it needs to be played or not. It's definitely sided, but. So Branded Regained, every time a card is banished, you shuffle it and draw a card. So there's all kinds of recursion. Another reason why I don't have to play 2 Grand Wignos. Another reason why I hand rip so much. I shuffle back the Omega, and then I'll make it again. And then on your turn, I'll banish the Omega, activate Regained, and then a Tude will make me sync again or whatever. There's a lot of cool stuff, and it's very consistent to do that. I mean, it's easy to get Branded Regained with Lubellion, and then just go end phase, set a Tude with Albion from graveyard. 2 thrusts. I'm not a big fan of playing 3 ofs of a card that I'm not guaranteed to see value on. I mean. If the opponent doesn't have a hand trap and I'm going first, I just wouldn't like that. But this card's the best card in my deck for sure, no doubt about it. The targets for this are Grass is Greener, Talents, Branded Fusion, Secret Village, because I get Metaverse. So let me put the Metaverse. And Branded Sword, by the way, is not terrible. Not for this, obviously, but I'm just saying. I love the trap effect. I love it because it literally says summon like 3 to 4 in my deck. Summon 2 to 4 2,500 attack tokens that are going to save your life points, and we know what happens when Branded doesn't get OTK'd. It literally is like a threatening roar. It's not terrible at all for its trap effect. And there's a lot I can do with it because I actually use tuners. I don't know if you knew that all your girls in the deck were tuners. So anyway, this sets this. If I'm going first, and then Secret Village, I play the Dogmatikas, I side the Winda, you can play the Dragoon with the Duality. I got plenty of spellcasters, and we got the Ecclesia and all that. This is too nice. I've never seen this once where it wasn't like auto win or immediate fold. They quit every time they see this, if they don't have an out to it. And if they do, it's like usually like they're spending efforts that they really wish they didn't have to go into. It's a whole mess, man. This card just needs to be banned. I can so easily make sure you never, if you do ever make a spellcaster hit the board, I'll just make sure it doesn't stay there. I'll immediately banish it with Mirror Jade, or I'll fuse it off. I mean, I won't let you have a spellcaster on board fast enough to play a spell. And then, so yeah, I have a bunch of targets. We know normal spells, right? The other day, I actually went into Nadir's Servant with Thrust because I was like, you know what? Instead of grass or like doing something a little like, you know, potentially risky, even though it's never risky, I send 20 with this, and all of my grass mills are insane. Like I can't wait to do some. I'm gonna do some test hands for you guys in the next vid. But yeah, I got Nadir's Servant off of it, and that was just amazing. Like, and imagine if High Spirits was a thrust target, right? I think that's really cool. I showed that. Okay. We got the sword. And I put the Retribution in the side. I might, yeah, I'm going to keep it in the side. There's no reason to play it in the main deck, and I don't feel like, yeah. Right. So, yeah, we'll talk more about the Dogmatikas in the next coming videos. But here's my extra deck. 1 Albion, the Sanctifier. 2 Dogmas, that dragons that devour the Dogma. Because I devour the Dogma. Albaz fusions here. Here's the Dust Dragon. So that's it. That's it. And then here's the that's all you need. And then this just keeps everything recycling. Playing 2 of this is just everything. So basically, can you come up for a second? So and then the last 3 cards, Ecclesia, Dissipator, and Omega. So I do feel like these cards are pretty common, but people aren't playing Dissipator in as much, and with Regained, every turn the Dissipator comes back. And there's one more thing. Come down. I will reveal, I don't want to reveal my side deck at the moment because it's really spicy. But here's a few things I want to show that are in the side. 1 Shit-Off Fusion, 1 Schism, the Winda and the App Cologne, and the Construct. So all I have to do is send this, and I can get the Schism, start your turn with where they're locked out, and this can't even be, they can't fall on the Virtuous this, they can't destroy this, it can't be destroyed by card effects. It's really nice. It's also a spellcaster with my Secret Village and whatnot, but what I really love is the Shit-Off Fusion. I'll go Thrust into Shit-Off Fusion. You activate Shit-Off Fusion. I'm not going to reveal which Shit-Alls I'm playing right now, but you send 2 Shit-Alls to summon App Cologne. Negate a card on board, Chainlink 1. Chainlink 2, whatever the 2 Shit-Alls you sent, you can go like, say, Shit-All Dragon, You could be like pop a spell or trap. Then you go chain link 3, shit all genius, negate a card on board. It's all chain blocked. And by the way, the whole construction of the way I do my lock with Christia and the ritual, it's all chain blocked and layered in a way that the construction of it and the keeping it is the way I do things is actually all chain blocked, so that it's nice stuff. The lock stuff is really good, but Shaddoll Fusion is amazing. I think it's got to be the best card into a board going second besides Dogmatika Matrix. Is probably better, right? Because it doesn't lock you out of the extra deck. Well, Matrix doesn't lock you out of the extra deck, but usually that line will you do some things that do. But you can go either way with this, and also none of your Shaddolls are bricks. If you draw Shaddoll, I mean, if you draw a Shaddoll, you just Cartesia, and that's your construct. Cartesia is a light spellcaster. So you just go Cartesia and Shaddoll, and you get the Shaddoll's effects. This is live off of High Spirits. It's live off of opening. If you're so committed and obsessed to seeing consistent openings and High Spirits, then play some Shaddolls. Maybe make Shaddoll branded, because you know they all get their effects off of that stuff. But I just play the 1 because it's dope. It's cool. I play the 3 thrusts after sighting. If I'm going second, I play 3 thrusts. This is an option. It sends a light or a dark. So I can send any monster from my deck to the graveyard and a Shaddoll, and either draw a card off Beast, or pop a back row off Dragon, or negate a card off, or Ariel banish 3 from their grave. There's so many fun things to do with it. And I can't wait for the new Shaddoll support, for real. But and then don't forget, like, at very worst, he still has a flip effect to bounce anything. So, you know, it's just there. But, also a spellcaster. Summon him to enforce your, just to layer your secret village. I don't know. He just comes up a lot. Like, everything about him is, the Shaddolls are great. But that's side deck stuff. Because, Shaddoll Fusion's really only good going into boards, because they have to control a monster. And then, yeah, going into boards with Construct is so nice. This sends another one, then you draw, because I'll send Dragon, Beast, or and then, or you can just go into that and get 3 effects right there. You get like 5 interruptions off 1 Shaddoll Fusion. Or you just lock your opponent out completely and summon Winda. Because, yeah, don't forget when you do the route where you do Apkalone, when it is eventually sent to the grave, will add you the Schism. So what I like to do is just add the Schism, and then when this dies, I add the Schism, set the Schism, and yeah, then you have Winda. So he's kind of like insane. He's like 5 interruptions plus he says summon Winda afterwards when he does leave, and he can't be destroyed by battle either. Just some cool cards, I thought, yeah. And then honorable mentions was just the Mysterion. This card, I would love to play this card, but I don't know. A second Quem would work really well with the Bestials and all that, and sending like Mercurier, and Mercurier getting banished by a Bestial. Yeah, I'm into this card a lot, but yeah. That's it. I thank you guys so much for being with me. I'm sorry if I talk a little bit like I'm like I have the answers, and it's just like, guys, like I don't know. I get tired of a lot of the same copy and paste stuff. I think it's time we get back to homebrewing things. That's the way to do it, and letting your heart talk to you. Like, when you have a bad hand, don't just say, well, that happens to everybody, or, well, that's part of the game. I mean, that's what I asked for when I decided to main 20 hand traps. So what you can do is actually just sit with your hand, and I'll do 1 shuffle for you guys. Sit with your hand and basically ask yourself, let your heart talk to you. What the fuck is going on here? Why am I, what's the brick? Because the universe is always talking, man, but we're not going to get into that. But we're going to do a test hand. So one time down here. I'm not going to actually play a hand. I'm just going to show 5 cards. I think I got an extra deck card in here. And it is, of course, all together, so it's a little messed up. Hopefully we don't get too many cards stuck together. But it doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, I'm really happy with this deck. I will be bringing it to regionals May 24th, I believe, or 26th, something like that. Okay. All right, we needed to shuffle better, maybe, but just to get an idea, like. And I know it looks like all gas and no like conscience for the fact that people that you do need hand traps, like blah blah blah. People say like, oh, there's no conscious like effort. I mean being conscious of the fact that I need to interrupt my opponent. I know it looks a little bit like my deck is all gas, no breaks, and no there's not really enough breakers and stuff, but there's so much in-engine action that I'm good. Here's another 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is like the first brickish hand I've ever seen, and I'm gonna show actually how. Well, no, okay, we can do this another time, but see, Fallen on the Virtuous is such a good card. It's ridiculous. I mean, really, what I can do is set the Albaz, Fallen on the Virtuous, pop it, send the Albion, end phase, summon Oliver. Oliver, add Brandon in red. This is in the grave now. Now I do now I summon Loop, Mirror Jade and the rest of it. Got to draw a card. Believe me, the card I draw is gonna get me going. This is the key to Yu-Gi-Oh! Just keep faith. You know, when we first saw these 5, we were like, oh, got him there, like, or something. But there's just always that faith, man. You got to keep faith that every hand, like, remember when Grandpa Yugi said, every hand is like a puzzle, and you got to have faith and find a way to put the puzzle to the pieces of the puzzle together. So, but yeah, I'm just that type of duelist. But we will get into some test hands. I thank you guys so much. I'm relatively new to Branded. I've been playing it for months and months, or years, I guess. But I still call myself new because I haven't been playing on paper for long. So I'm relatively new to like the technicalities of declaring all the different things, declaring all the, not only the phases of every, but just all the little technicalities. Like how everything works as far as some things resolve where you can't resolve both things at the same time, and there's a lot of different things that come up. And all in all, I've had a really just amazing, successful time with this deck, and I've had a blast is really what it's about. I mean, I really have so much fun. Before we close the duel, let's look at one more test hand. Let's go down. All right. It just never breaks. And it's very responsive to opponents' boards. I mean, they can have a 5 negate board, and I just love this deck. Now, this looks a lot like the last one. Okay. Summon. If you're going first, right? Hopefully you're going second, but summon, Fallen and Virtuous, pop, end phase. It's pop, send Albion, end phase. Albion will add you or summon. Add to hand your. You're gonna summon this because you're gonna add to hand the opening. Opening will discard the something that you might hand trap. No, you don't thrust at this point. That's why I don't play 3 thrusts. That's why I don't play cards that are reliant on conditions like depending on my opponent, and that's another beef I have with hand traps. And I do feel like when you're afraid of a certain outcome, it can sometimes come to get you harder. Like, it's crazy how it follows you. Your fears, like, it's whatever you don't want to happen with your deck, you're gonna get that hand. The hand you're afraid to draw, the cards you're afraid to get together, the cards you're afraid to see together, the bricks, whatever. Don't make your deck. My best advice is don't make your deck have cards you wouldn't want to see. But you know, unless you just like you only want to see them when time is right. That's not realistic. So yeah, thank you.